We are talking about the CSS. Last session, we were discussing about the couple of CSS. And today we will talk about the padding. Padding is, for example, let's take you have a page, right? So the page, the border, whatever the border for the page is, the default, it's called as a margin. Now let's say if I open any web page. Now if I open this page, if I open this page, in this page, the corner, whatever the corner ones are there, so till here, this is called as a, in CSS, this is called margin. And this is on top. That means it is on this page. So anything is called, this is called as a margin. Now, assume that you are writing the content inside the, you have applied a border. In the page, you have applied a border. Inside the border, you are writing a content. Let's say HTML information, you are writing some information inside this border. Now, the gap between the border and margin is like you can use the margin. But the border and between the content, if you have to place any space, then we will use the padding. So there is two things are there, padding and margin. Margin is at the high level. Padding is nothing but wherever you have some kind of a default border will be there. Between the default border to your content, if you want to add any space, then you can add a space using the padding. Now, padding and margin, let's see here. So the CSS padding property defines the padding space inside the border. So whenever you want to add a padding, the CSS padding property defines the padding space between the border and content. So whoever is inside the, like if you want to add it inside the border, it is called as a padding. Now example, you can specify here P, border 1 pixel solid black and the padding is 10 pixel. So like this, you can add padding is 10 pixel. Similarly, you have a padding and margin. So far we have seen the padding and the next one is a margin. Margin is which is outside of the border is called margin. Now if you want to apply the margin space, then you can say here margin 30 pixels. So by applying this, what we can do is we can implement certain HTML pages. Now we know how to implement a padding, right? So yesterday we have seen a couple of examples, right? If I open the CSS file, now if I open any CSS file, open file. Now let me open the CSS. Right, so here we have added the text align, right? Like this, we have aligned it. Now, in case here we have added the border. But in case if you want the padding, you can add a padding also. Padding 10 pixel, margin 13 pixel, like that you can add it. Let's say here, I'm going to add it, padding 10 pixel. And then also I'm going to add it for H1, I'm going to add the margin, let's say 30 pixels. So like this, you can add it, you will be able to see the differences. Okay. Try it, it should work. Now, next one is a floating. Floating also we have already seen, I guess. So you can float the left to right or right to left if you want the floating. Like usually how the text will be started. Text will be started from the from here. So from left to right, it is going to start it. Now, if you want, it is starting from here. But if you want start from anywhere, but end has to be done here. Everything end has to be in the right side in the same line. Right. So if you want to see that, you can use the floating. So floating examples, like we have a paragraph, inside the paragraph image source. Like if you add some image here, you can add the image and you can add the paragraph and then close the paragraph. So whenever you say here paragraph style equal to float colon left and width 42 pixel, height 42 pixel. Then if you want to add any text, you can add it. Let's say, let me open one page. Yesterday we have created. Okay. So assume that here I have an image. So right. So this image I'm going to place it on top. Here I'm going to place it. Now this is HTML3. File, open file. Let's see here, LWC, HTML3, open. Now we have it, this is available. Now what I'll do is this image, I'm going to place it. Let's say this is height and width is available. Now if I say here, now we have another one which is called float colon left. If you say style equal to float colon left, then what will happen? Immediately the style will be applied. And let's say here I'm going to apply the style. Style equal to float column. Let's say if you say right, I'm going to say right. So like this, you can specify it. Click on this save. Refresh. It is going to display at the right. If you want top, same image, you can place it here in the right side. Right. So this is float is going to decide whether it should be here or whether it should be here. So it will be deciding the image or a text or whatever you want. You can decide it. And the next thing we have is HTML tables. HTML tables. Now, this is important for the real time. Now, let's see the HTML tables. So, tables are defined with the table, anchor table. So, less than table, greater than table tag. So, you have to always start your table keyword with the less than table and greater than tag. And tables are divided into the rows. That means you have a table here. So you have a table and this table is divided into the rows. So it is going to divide it into the rows. Now here whatever this table is called, that is this one. Rows are defined as TR. Rows are defined as a TR. And also we have a cells. Cells is nothing but, so in each cell, this is one cell, this is one cell, this is one cell, this is one cell. So we have a cells, right? So inside the cell, what is the data needs to be decided? Like first of all, how do I declare the cell? Like I divided into the tables. Like if I am going to divide into the data, so whatever the data is available, so that data will be stored in by using the TD. I can store and I can display the data. So table rows are divided into the table data with the TD tag. Also, we have a header. In the table, we have header. Like this is name and this is email ID. So, and this is phone number, fax number, some details, we have a header. Header will be displayed as a TH. Header will be displayed as a TH. So by combination of all these things, we will be implementing a proper table inside the HTML. So they can contain all sorts of the HTML elements like a text, image, list, other tables, everything you can consider it. Right, so let's say here, for example, if I want to implement a table, start with the less than table, and inside this, if you want to add a style, you can add the style, and then we have a row. So right now, this table is defined, create a outer box, then add a one row, add a one row. Inside this row, what is the TH? TH is nothing but this is the header. Header is first name, last name, points. So this is the header. So this is the first row. And after the first row, what is the second row? It says second row is we are displaying the data. We are displaying the data here. So here, this is the second row. So this second row will be drawing the second line here. And then we are displaying here Mark, David, and the points are 50. Similarly, we are going to create another row. So another row is going to create a content data. So TD we have specified here. This is first one, TR. TR means it is going to create another row inside the table. Once we create the row inside the table, then we are going to place the data. So data will be here, Pat, Melissa, and then points is 30.
Hello.
Now, so let's see here how to implement a basic table.
Bye, Nana.
So let's see basic table, how to implement it. Now I'm going to implement a new HTML file, new text file. Select a language. Now let's specify here HTML. Now we will specify here HTML and closing of the HTML. Inside this, we have a header. And after that, we have a body. This is the header and then body. Now header is inside the header, we are going to add a title. And then inside the title, I'll specify here. Let's say this is a table HTML, and then we are going to add here link. Now inside this, let me add the CSS file. Rel equal to, let's say, style sheet. And I'm going to add the CSS file, href equal to whatever the CSS file name is there. I'm going to add the CSS file. So CSS file name is HTML CSS. Right click. Let's copy the exact name. Now let's specify .css. And then inside this body, we are going to use it here table. Now we are adding the table. Let's end the table here. I'm creating the table. Now inside the table, we have a rows. Rows are available. Now let's say I'm going to add multiple rows here. Multiple rows I'm adding, as in that 4 rows I'm adding it. Now inside this rows, we have a data. So data will be, it sits inside the TD. Data sits inside the TD. Now let's copy this TD. Now this is data. And here this is also data. Now this is also data. Now let's not add the header right now. Now I'll add the header later. Now inside this data, I'm going to display certain information. Let's say Mark, David, and let's say 50, Pat, let's say Barry, and then we'll give it 60. And similarly here, Bruce. Some data here which is a 70. But this is the data we are giving it. Now if I save this, save this page. Let's save it. This is a table. Click on this table. Let's open up the table here. Let's open up the table. Click on this refresh. Now I'm opening up this table. Now what is happening? It is displaying in the Mark, David, 50, Pat, Barry, 60, Bruce, Tony, 70. Like that it is displaying. But if you highlight this, it is actually a table. It is actually a table which does not have a header and there is no border. In case if you want a space, the width has to be there here. Now if you want a width, you can specify inside the table. So table style equal to, you can specify the width colon 100%. Width colon 100%. Now let me go ahead and refresh this. Now this is a table, right? So this is first column, second column, and third column. First row, second row, and third row. But we do not have a header. We do not have header. Now let me add the header. So in order to add the header, I'll specify here TR and closure of TR. Then we will get a TH. And let's say this is the first name. Similarly, we have another TH. Now this is last name. H. And let's assume this is the points. Now click on this save. And refresh this page. Now here it says first name, last name, points. Now first name, last name, points are coming as a center. Automatically, the header will be displayed as a center. But the names which are displaying here from the left side. From the left side, it is displaying it. But where is the actually it is ending here? Here it is one line. So there is a border is missing here. It does not have a border. So here one line, here one line. So the borders are missing. The table borders are missing. So what I'll do is I'll add a style here. So within this header, we'll add a style. Now inside this style, so what we are going to do is we are going to add a border. Border for which one? Border for table and then TH and then TD. Right? So we need a border here. We need a border here. Now I need a border at the entire table. So this entire table border is required. Now similarly, I need a border for the header. So here header is required. And then for each cell, that means I need to, for the rows also, I need it here and each cell has to be divided like this. So this is table has to be, this borders has to be there for the multiple places. So here I need it for the table, TH and TD, everything I needed. So what I'll do is I'll use the table, apply the style for table, as well as apply the style for TH, apply the style for TD. And then I'm going to specify here border equal to 1 pixel. Let's say solid, and let's specify the black. So it's a border, so I'm going to take the black. And then also if you want to add it, now let me see whether it is adding it or not. Just refresh here. Now it is adding the border. So this is one border, and then you have a header. Each cell is also having a border. Now also you have another one if you want to collapse the border. Now let's say here border hyphen collapse equal to, you can use the collapse one. Now let's specify here, save. Now just refresh. Now what are the double lines are there? Those will be gone. Single lines will be displayed. Right, so what collapse is going to, it is going to collapse the whatever is available. And also here, if you observe this, now if you observe this is the margin here. So this is margin, right? So this entire thing is the margin. Now this is the border. Now here I want a space between the border and this is the content. This is the border and this is the content. Between this I need a space. Everywhere, for every cell I need a space. So for that what we will be doing is we will add a space for every cell. So that is inside the header as well as the cell as well. So TH comma TD. Now I'm adding the space. In order to add it, we have a padding. So between the border and content, if you want to add a space, you can use the padding. Now let's click on save. Now let's specify here. Now refresh. Now it is displaying the 30. Right, so there is a space is added here. Between the content and border, space is added. Right, similarly, if you want to make it this, whatever these are there, if you want to make it center, right? So TH is already center, but this below content, whatever this content is there in every cell, so this cell has to be a center. Now, if you want that to be center, now you can add, this is just only for TD text align equal to center. Click on this save. And then refresh. It is displaying as a center. Now like this, you can apply the spaces for how you wanted to display your data. How you want to display your data. So in the real time, mostly we will play with our own code. So Salesforce is also providing, LWC is providing the information, but mostly the requirements, most of the requirements, we need to customize it. So for customization, we will be playing like this with the CSS. Now there is another one here, table border one. Either you can apply the border equal to 1 or you can specify the style. So whatever we have seen, table, TH, TD, border we have applied. So instead of this style, if you want to simply go with the border equal to 1, you can go with the border equal to 1 also. Or else you can specify here, collapse also you can specify it. So this is the assignment, implement a table. Now this table should have first name, last name, email, website, images, and then now the first name has to be displayed and all the data has to be displayed. In all the data has to be displayed. Now table background color. So whatever the table background color is there, so the table background color has to be the border color. The table inside the background color has to be a different color. Okay, it should not display as the same color. It should be a different color, and the outline, whatever the outline is there, the outline has to be a thick color. Now, right now what we have implemented. So the background color, table color is same. But what I need is the normal page background color is white and this table color should be a different color. And whatever the border is there, this border, the outside border, only the outside border has to be a thick. Only the outside border has to be a thick. Inside it should be a normal. That's assignment. Now this is the CSS.